Hello, this is my first group meeting um, reflection on the Microsoft Changemakers event that I went to. Tonight is Tuesday night, and it was at the Microsoft flagship store. It was very cool. We went up to the 6th or 7th floor of the building. They had a really awesome space, like very modern, very open, and a panel of 3 people speaking. One guy, chief chief strategy officer named Steve from Deloitte, another guy named Dewan who's like top marketing at SoundCloud, and another woman named Stacy who is something in a new startup called Hello Alfred. So the event was pretty cool. They had an narrator, MC kind of guy who was leading the questions and throwing in comments here and there. And he was just asking them about how they're change makers in their company, advice about innovation, entrepreneurship, and intrapreneurship, how to really pull out your innovative strengths when you're working in a bigger company. I took some notes specifically related to my venture about a couple of comments people said. One of them was just the positive feedback loop, getting feedback, putting it back into your company to make improvements. Another one is really the consumer first human modeling. Make the consumers an action partner, so you really get their feedback and implement exactly what they want in your company or your product or your service. A comment on user experience and user interface is to focus on the user experience from end to end, completely from extreme to extreme, and then you'll really include everyone in the middle. And then use that user experience knowledge to figure out how to apply it when you bring it to the market. I don't totally know what that means, but I think it's good advice. Another thing is to be super clear about your consumer problem value proposition. Focus on the why of your company, not just the what and the how, so people really understand your mission. Everyone talked a lot about seeing the problem as opportunity. A lot of things we talk about in our class. To fall in love with your problem, not your solution. Just be passionate about what you're trying to pursue. They also had an interesting discussion about innovation as a disruption. Whether it's a small or big opportunity, you can innovate in a lot of different areas. And they mentioned the evolutionary, revolutionary, and incremental. Some things aren't very disruptive and others are really disruptive. Something like Amazon they talked about a lot. They also mentioned, just like a good quality of being an entrepreneur, is having tenacity, being able to come back after failure and recognize your failure but learn from it for the future, and knowing your values, what you bring to the table, and your limitations. And when you have those values, like be strong, be present with them, and with your weaknesses, just surround yourself with people who cover up for those areas for you. As well as paying attention to the way we ask questions when we're looking at these problems as entrepreneurs and innovators, as we're talking to our teams, like how you phrase your question, the power of your language, because that can really change the discussion with your teammates or your consumers. And a couple of questions I came up with while there were how for my venture can I involve more of the houseless individuals that have the lived experience of being outside as a part of the process, whether that's like a focus group style or employing people. A revenue question I had is, how do you make something that's consumer first when the goal is to make their life better at no cost? So like the consumer centric side and not paying as much attention to the revenue side, because that's something I'm kind of lacking, but that's really prevalent in the social entrepreneurship mindset, but we have to still maintain a sustainable structure, which involves money. And my last question is, how do you maintain the community feel for users? The one guy working at SoundCloud was saying how their users, their song creator, people who upload their music, really feel like a part of the SoundCloud community, and it doesn't feel like this big corporation with all this money. So how do I maintain that community feel while still being commercial and for-profit and money-driven? So those are the key things I took out of the event. I thought it was cool. The Q&A when that opened up, we got some good insight too. It was definitely worthwhile, and I'm really glad I went.